Everybody, welcome back. What have I done with it? Frazzle. I have, what do I have? What do I have? My name is Abby Hager, in case you weren't sure. And I'm terribly good at what I do, whatever the hell that is. So a long time ago, I accidentally said, that looks like how, what could possibly? And I said yes to an offer that seemed benign at the time. It was benign. It was benign. Nobody intended for anything to happen the way it happened. So today I want to talk to you about outcomes. I'm very fond of talking about a place called the Department of Unintended Outcomes because I, at any rate, seem to end up there quite frequently. And much to my eternal surprise, and it's not because I'm not paying attention. It's because I'm trying to keep one eye on the thing and the other on the prize. And everybody forgets how wide the gap is between the this and the aha. So today I want to talk to you about the lightning. And I got into the habit quite a few years ago because things have been a bit busy for me. That I would say to myself, not really realizing I was using my outside voice, lean to the left to avoid the lightning. And periodically somebody would say, I'm sorry, what? and I would realize that I was not focusing properly. I was caught up in the swirl, and I didn't know it. And there's a big reason why I want to talk about that right now, because I got caught up in a swirl this year, along with some very, very lovely people. And the swirl was kind of, if you can imagine somebody frantically treading water. Imagine if you were a really tiny person and you're in water and all of a sudden there feels a vortex, and if you could zoom the camera back, you're actually in a giant sink. and so you're, oh, wait. And quite often we end up there and we don't notice. It sounds crazy to say this. We don't notice. Good morning, Maggie. We don't notice that we're in toxic while we're in it. We don't notice that we slipped. We took that one little tiny slip, and it's a little bit of a slip, little bit of slip. And then the next one's a little bit of a slip. And the next thing you know, we are repeating steps. We are repeating functions. We are repeating turning in circles because we're caught there. And the thing is, the only reason we're caught there is because we can't see it. The minute we see it, we say, what the hell is that? Are you listening to you? What are you doing? And then you step out. The crazy thing is, the minute you say, the thing that has overwhelmed, that has loomed large, goes, oh, yeah, sorry. And you think, yeah, okay, be gone. We get ourselves caught up. And I think sometimes we get caught up because there is a certain amount of energy in it. And there's a certain amount of, and sometimes that energy isn't as obvious as we think it is. What the energy is, yeah, this is good. This is, yeah, this is good. I'm cruising. This is good. And it doesn't occur to us that we're not doing anything. We're not going anywhere. We're not changing anything, and we're certainly not growing anything. We are floating. We are coasting. And I don't know if you understand what momentum is, but in life, except when there is freezing rain on the highway, okay, there's always an exception to every rule, except when there is freezing rain on the highway, life provides friction. Friction gives us traction. Traction allows us to navigate. Going back to the freezing rain analogy, when the surface of the road is slick and you accidentally think, perhaps I'll just slow down a bit, and you touch the brake, and the car does not slow down. Nope, it does this. Woof! And for a split second, you are facing the oncoming traffic, and then you're not. And then you are, and then you're not. And then with any luck, you don't hit anything too terribly dangerous, and you stop. And you sit there for a minute, and then you open your eyes to make sure that you haven't stopped in the middle of oncoming everything. And if you have, you leap to safety. That's the story. That's the story of my life. Thank you very much. Come again. I'm here all week. So in that life I led, where everything was not noticeably downhill, but just enough that I felt the need to walk just faster than the pull of gravity, so that on the off chance that I tripped and fell, which, I would be able to save myself. I was trying to make my momentum match the momentum. What I didn't realize was that it was perfectly okay to step out of that downhill, mini, slow, small, silent avalanche sooner rather than later. There's a great line that says, the longer you ride on the wrong train, the longer it takes you to get back to the stop you meant to get off at, right? So in our rush to achieve a goal we had set, we can panic. I know I have done it. I did it recently. Even though I know better, even though I have many times said, that doesn't work. That doesn't work. It still doesn't work. And oh, look, it's not working again. Even though I know it has been my pattern, and a pattern, Maggie and I were talking, a pattern is really difficult to break unless you replace it with another pattern. And you gradually focus on the new pattern, and the old pattern fades away, and the new pattern becomes this day and every day. That's how it works. What happens in the process of replacing the pattern is there are glitches. There's always a moment. I want to give you for instance, a visual. Okay, the visual is when you're walking. When you're walking, there is a split second, boop, when both feet are off the ground. The reason you don't crumple into the dust is the momentum of the movement. Lifting this foot pushes you forward, pulls your weight forward. And the fact that you've already got your other foot out and ready to put it down is why you cross the divide. When you see people running, you can see the moment when both feet are off the ground. You witness it. And the reason they don't crumple is because how fast they're going. It happens when we're walking. It also happens when we're changing our mind, when we're changing our focus, when we're changing our tools because we have chosen a different path. We still have one foot on the old path when we take that first step on the new path. For a split second, we are above two paths. It means that for a split second in time, we are balancing two different energies. We are balancing two different directions. We are balancing two different shapes and frames of mind. And it is in that moment when we can get distracted, when we can be, what was that? And how many times have we done that and then tripped over something that wasn't worth tripping over? I tripped over a pebble a year and a half ago. A little tiny pebble wedged into two sidewalk blocks, right, sticking up. And I happened to put my full weight on the pebble. And the next thing I was doing was lying face down on the pavement. Two people picked me up. Are you all right? Yep. And I carried on. What happened? I wasn't watching where I was going. I wasn't remaining focused where I was placing my weight, placing my energy, placing my direction and my purpose and my passion. And so in the transition moments, this is why, in all the coaching work that I do, in all of the mental guiding, every author I have worked with, I have actually coached. I have taught them how to reframe. I have taught them how to think and share in a different way. We have a thought, we have an idea, we have a passion. As I coach an author, I help them take that thought, that idea, those words, those emotions out of their heart, out of their energy, out of their head, through their hands onto a page so that they can see it over there, so they can look at it objectively, so that they can say, oh, I see what you mean. No, I didn't mean to say that. It felt right in here, but it's not the same when it's over there. No, it isn't. Because what was meant for here was meant for here. The medium we are in shapes the message, shapes the way we share it, shapes the way we craft it. When we shift gears, when we shift momentum, when we go to a different platform, those tools, those strategies no longer serve. They serve, but they don't help. They don't provide opportunity to grow. They hold us back. And they feel forced, and they feel toxic, and they feel limiting. And that's scary because they never felt limiting before. What happened? The questions we start asking, the second guessing we start experiencing happens in those moments when we are transitioning from one foot to the other, one energy to the other, one purpose to the other. And so right in the middle of feeling like everything is going, yes, there's that moment. Here's what happens. If you could be in here with me, oh my God, here's what happens. We do this, we go, yeah. If we go, yes, right? Okay. But when we inhale to go yes, we swallow a bug. You feel it, you picture it. Pat, pat, pat. Oh. What was that? I was with the universe messing with us. That was the gods going, watch this. How do you like me now? All, all the energies in the universe high-fiving each other. Us down here. Get back up. Let's see if she gets back up. Oh, here she comes. All right. Okay, she wins the prize, right? Okay, good for you. All right, you win. We're proud of you, girl. You go get them, fella. So when we step out of the oncoming traffic for a moment, lean up against something and say, I just need a moment here. I need a moment. I'm good. No, I need a moment. This is where we find ourselves. This is where we say, why did I think that was a good idea? And then we pause and we start looking at all the decisions we have just recently made in the last 5 seconds, 5 days, 5 weeks. And we say, no, that was the right idea. Where did it go off the rail? What the hell was that? And what the hell it was realizing that not all energy is good energy. Not all. Yeah, yeah. And then you know what we can do? Yeah, we can get an elephant. We can paint it purple or not. We, we, we could just we could just have a very small, we have a very small friendly elephant, leave him the color he wants to be. We don't need to go all out. And so we get caught up in the momentum. And when we get caught up in the momentum, we are actually in the equivalent space of glare ice on a highway. And we keep going and we keep going and we keep going. And then all of a sudden, we hit a spot. We shift in some way and we realize, no traction. The attraction of speed, the attraction of what's over there can cause us to lose traction here. When we can see an outcome the way we picture it, we're forgetting something. We're forgetting that we can only see that through this one set of eyes, this one filter, this one concept that's living in here. We forget all the others in that moment of, oh, look, shiny object. What on earth is wrong with my hair? And it's a shiny object. What we need to do for us, and I don't mean need, what we have the capacity to do is breathe between the ebb and the flow, in that pause, in that moment, between one foot and the other, while we are suspended, while we are moving, while our momentum and our purpose and our passion is defying gravity. Where we are there, that is so exhilarating, that is so beautiful, that is so just magical, is called flow. It is when we have disconnected briefly and we are in a space where we grow. When we are moving from to. And there is something about that exciting, different, magical feeling that is quite intoxicating. And quite often we lose sight of the plan. We lose sight of the purpose. We turn our eyes away from the steps that we know we are planning to take that guide us on the path. And instead, we get caught up, we get transfixed by, we get kind of hooked on the flow. So the flow that I'm talking about is our natural state. That is our natural energy. That is innately who we are. When you, back many years ago, way before my time, advertisers were telling people, it's never the steak we buy, it's the sizzle. We don't go and pick out a particular kind of food for the food. We pick it for the memory of the last time we had it. We are excited to relive what, the taste of it? No, the flow we experienced while we were tasting it. The people we were with, the moment in time, everything that was going on around us. In the same way, reverse it, we will have a bad experience along with something we ate or drank or wore. And we have a completely subconscious, automatic aversion to that food, that beverage, that item, without even realizing it. And that's because this survival brain doesn't understand I felt like a fool. It's a very primitive brain. Anything that's negative is life-threatening. Anything that's positive is safe. So if we have a negative memory, that brain says, oh, that's death. Well, we're not doing that again. And so we become allergic to something, or we never wear that color again, and we don't know why. And every time we look at it, it changes our mood. That's our basic brain saying, no, over here. That's not a good place. Let's go over here, to keep us safe. When we are growing and changing, when we have chosen to step in to something new, in those moments where we're not tethered to either side of the shift, that survival brain says, there's nothing beneath my feet. That's not good. And it tries to drag us back to what it considers the last place God made. The last place, though, wasn't good. That's why we're leaving. That's why we're moving. That's why we're growing from. That brain doesn't know that. So in the midst, they talk about a lot of these motivators, they talk about in the middle, you got to do more and be more, and you'll have a setback and you got to just muscle on through. No, you don't just muscle on through, and you don't push. That's not how it works. The harder you push, the further away it goes. Have you noticed you're driving in the car, and there's always that, on a hot day, there's always that sort of mirage, that wet spot on the highway, Do you realize, you just think about it, the faster you go, the further ahead it moves. You never catch up to that. The harder you chase, the further you push, the longer it takes. The faster you drive, you'll reach a destination, but it won't be the one you intended. The one you intended will stay safely out of reach, because that's physics. So where we are, when we have made a decision, when we've girded our loins and we've said, all righty then, tally ho, and we take that first step, we raise our foot, we propel ourselves forward, and there we are in the exhilaration of the choice. And that's when we're vulnerable. That's when we second guess. That's when we reverse, trip, fall, and forget, and get caught up in all the reasons we wanted to grow. The reasons were, it's not big enough anymore. It's not fun enough anymore. It's not satisfying enough anymore. It doesn't challenge me anymore. Basically, I've played here and I've closed. The energy, the exhilaration we feel, the theme today, you do lean to avoid the lightning, right? Because that's not good energy. That's zot energy. You do recognize that while it's sparkly, it doesn't mean that movement's going to be wise. While it's exciting, it lights up the landscape. If you stick around after the light fades, you realize that the tree is no longer there. It's just sawdust. And we get caught up in the boom shakalaka and the kazam. And we say, wow, okay. And then what? What do we do after that? What do we do? Have you ever in the winter walked wearing socks across the rug and then put your hand on something metal? Put your hand on the fridge. And you and the fridge connect and you go zzz, because of static electricity. You go, ow, ow. That's the universe saying, see? Keep that in mind. How do you like those sizzles, sports fans? You say, I don't. Oh. That's not the sizzle we're looking for. We're not looking for pain. We're not looking for loss of capacity and direction. We're not looking for giving our power away. We're looking for the way to grow. So I have a story that I want to tell you about someone who said, I'm going to stop now. And I said, good, do it. And they did for a while. And then something happened and they reverted back and they did the self-destructive thing again. And when they recovered from it, they said, I'm going to stop now. And I said, good, please do. And they said, I know, right? And then something happened and they did it again. And they did it again, and they did it again, and they did it again. And eventually it did not turn out well. We have known people like that. We have loved them, and they have loved us back. And it hasn't helped. Because what they didn't have was something else. They didn't have an understanding that you can't just quit a habit. Nature does not allow a vacuum. We have to fill it. We have to come up with another habit. We have to come up with another tool. We have to come up with another plan. And whatever those choices are, we have to decide that we deserve the tools, the training, the techniques, and the support. We have to give ourselves permission to remember that back in the very, very beginning, we required tools and techniques and strategies and support for years from birth. We gradually, with that help, developed our skills. And over time, we forget how long that took us. Over time, we feel that those are ours and we can take care of ourselves. It's incorrect. We can be independent. We can be on our own, but we're not built that way to be that way. Our energies connect. Our intentions weave together. Flow is not one tiny molecule cruising. Flow is all the molecules in sync. All the molecules that represent us, all the molecules that represent us, all the molecules that represent the dream. Flow is not when one is alone. Flow is when they are all heading the same way. How do we shift out of that knee-jerk reaction, that knee-jerk reach for the sizzle? There's a couple of steps, and it's not compromise. It most certainly is not compromise. It is not okay. I guess I don't know what I was thinking. I guess I've had my time in the sizzle. I have to learn to be okay with the fizzle. No, that's garbage. People put timelines, they put limits, they put sizes, they put ages, they put colors, they put shapes, limiting limiting qualifiers on everything. We do it so that we can feel safe. However, what we don't realize is that we've built limits on our exuberance, on our joy, on our infinite possibility and potential. It has to be this way. Why does it have to be this way? Well, it's always been this way. Oh yeah? How's it working for you? It sucks. I'll wait while you put that math together. I'm right here. If it sucks, why are you doing it again? She said, trying to remain calm. I don't know. I thought it would be different. Really? And denial is not just a river in Egypt. How do we shift, though? It's our go-to. It has been our go-to for as long as we can remember. Okay, step one, memory is faulty. Memory is selective. Subconscious says, here, remember this. Don't look at that. That's not here. Just remember this. Remember how good it felt when this happened. It didn't feel good. Sure did. We all have those conversations inside our heads, right? It's not just me. So how do we fix it? How do we fix it? Allow me to pause for a second. Simplify. Not to be confused with simplify. Simplify. Life is simple. People complicate it. What do you want? You must want something because you're restless. So what you have is no longer cutting it. What do you want? And let me be more specific. Talking with Maggie the other day. We know what you wanted because you had it. If you hadn't wanted it, you wouldn't have had it. That's the way the universe works. We may not think we want it, but yeah, we did. Otherwise, something else. So you did want it, and you did want it for a reason. And whatever purpose it served, now, not then, now, it no longer serves you. Because everything changes. The story of my mother making me peanut butter sandwiches for 1,146 years. At some point, some part of me said, we're pretty much good on the whole peanut butter thing. We're kind of good. Please stop. When we blink and shift and say, no, I'm good. No. That moment comes to us without any warning at all. Always. That moment is a blink. And we didn't know we were going to blink until we blinked. And after we blinked, what we're looking at is not what we want or need or crave. Now, gone. I call that the Milo moment. It's a seed. It's a hardy first growth seed, resilient seed that plants itself and blossoms. Boom. And through it, what we once said, hell yeah, we now say, I don't think so. Simply because we say, I don't think so, doesn't mean it's done. Because as I just said, we crave familiar. We crave that feeling that I know what I'm doing. It's going to be good because I know what I'm doing. May not be great, but it's good because I know what I'm doing. And we try to drown out that little voice that says, Yeah, but it isn't good. It sucks. And it sucked for a while. Move on. No, I'm good. I'm good. La, 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 la. No, I'm good. I'm good. And then finally, some part of it says, all right, you want to see how not good it is? And the next time you do it, you feel like crap. Why? Because your system, your body, your energy, your stuff said, nope, we're done here. We're done here. We played here. We closed. Did you not get the notice? And then we panic. And then we spiral. Just like when you walked across the room and you touched something and it went zzz, the spiral is ow, 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 ow. And we're in a state, can't think. Lightning, zzz, can't think. So we automatically reach for the familiar. Again, says the universe, ow. And it goes on, and it goes on, and it goes on. Just like my friend. Until one day, we say, let's go back to the beginning and start again. Let's write down the thing we want. Let's get the help. Let's mirror the motions. Let's build the habit the way we once did. Only this time we're building a now habit, a new habit, a forward moving habit. How do we do that? We do it one step at a time. And I have a 1, 2, 3 that works. It's absolutely awesome. We pick a goal, one, very small, one, reachable goal, one. We have the idea of the goal. What is the goal? Write it down. Okay, I know the goal. When am I doing it? Right now. Right now, not tomorrow. This is the plan. The goal is immediate. The goal is now. Small thing. Pick a thing. I don't know. Get a different pen because the other one is running out of ink. Do it now. I can do it later. No, do it now. Get the new pen because you're going to have an idea and you're going to want to write it down and you'll realize you still have no ink. And now you forgot the idea by the time you get the pen. Get the pen now. Did you get the pen? Good. Put this away. Start with this one. Ready? Good. Write it down. Write what down? Write down the goal. The goal was get a pen. Write it down. Get a pen. Did you get a pen? Yes. Congratulations. Congratulations, you did it. Write down the idea. What's the idea? Get a pen. All right, write down, get a pen. What are you writing it down with? The pen. Do it again. What's the idea? I think I've got something in my eye, so you'll need Kleenex. Yeah, get the Kleenex. What now? Yes, now. Okay, you got the Kleenex? Good. Do you have something in your eye? Yes. Oh, look. Oh, look. Wow. Way to go. What's the new habit? Think it, do it. 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 What's the prize? I got it. I win. Think it, do it. I had this conversation with Gary when we were doing the FanaticCon event. I had an idea. And I said to my photographer, the other Gary, photos. He said, absolutely. And we went. It wasn't like we ran. I said, photos. He said, yep, off we go. And I said, instructions? He said, yeah, we'll do this. And I said, okay. So as we were walking, I got the instructions, walked up to somebody, did the thing he told me to do, got the picture. Do it again, do it again, do it again, do it again. Last picture, do it again. Done? Yeah. On the way back. And Gary said, you just went. And I said, yeah. He said, like, you did you think it through? And I said, yes, I did. He said, well, when did you think it through? And I said, look at the time. This is when this happens. We can have pictures. I said to the photographer, pictures. He said, yep. And off we went. He said, yeah, but did you not have to think about it? And I said, what part do I have to think about? This is the time. This is what happens. We can get pictures. Go. He said, yeah, but don't you want to weigh the options? And I said, what options? We either go or we don't. As Yoda said so famously, do or not do. He said, yeah, but yeah. And I said, overthinking is a stalling tactic. Overthinking is a delaying tactic that your subconscious is putting in front of you so that nothing changes. You want change? You don't leap before you look. Look, leap. You already wanted to leap. That's why you looked. If you didn't want to leap, you'd still be doing the other thing. That's the way it works. So the sizzle is not what we think. The sizzle is not the memory we are recreating. They got it partly right, the advertisers. They got it partly right. But the part they got wrong throws us off. And here it is. We don't want that sizzle. We don't want that memory of that barbecue on those days with those people. That's not what we want. What we want is how it felt. Do you know where the feeling is? It's not back there. It's here. We are the feeling. We are the feeling. When I hit an emotional wall, and I hit a fairly big one yesterday, because aftermath, ebb, flow, 4 months of pushing and planning and excitement and organizing and connecting, and conversating and collaborating. And all of a sudden there's a freezing rainstorm and I have to say no. And it was like, wham, boof. I had to get up right away because there were things I had to do. And so I kept going and I kept going. And 2 days later, I fell down again, and I fell down hard. And then I got up. I got up and Greg got up and Gary got up, and we kept going and going and going. And then I fell down again. Bang. Gary fell down. Bang. Greg fell down. Bang. And the universe said, now maybe you'll listen. Breathe. Breathe. Rest. Rest. Give yourself time to rebuild your momentum so that the next time you defy gravity, you don't crash, you flow. There is no such thing as do more to be more. There is no such thing as need creates abundance. Need feeds need. Want fills lack. Belief feeds belief. Belief inspires growth. The sizzle of hitting that metal hurts. The rush of flow, there's nothing like it. So today is a good day as our very, very close friends to the south of Canada are coming into their weekend, their official weekend of giving thanks. It's not about what we get. It's not about where we go. It's not how many, how much, how big. It's flow. And right now, they're going to test the fire alarm system in my building just as I'm coming to an end. There's flow for you. So what I want to say as I sign off before we get all this banging and crashing going on is be good to you. You know why be good to you? You and me, we. Residents, this is Alan with Homestead. We're going to be performing. We are the flow. We are the flow. Be good to you. Remember to hug your loved ones because they deserve it too. Thank you for watching. I'll see you again on Thursday.